America's doing this. But if you team with me or other companies like me, you might leapfrog over them.
Yes, that
So
me too.
you don't necessarily have the exact numbers on the ship partnership, but you can see the relative importance. And that's the way you've got to think about those things. I will say this one other thing, just kind of in summary. Small Business Administration, and I apologize to the CEO who heard me on this point before. The Small Business Administration was created in 1953, but we actually kind of grew out of programs that preceded that. In the Depression of the 30s, finance programs to help small businesses were created, and those became the foundation of our lending programs. The government procurement program came out of an action in World War II, when it was believed that, gee, if we left things alone and let the so-called competitive market take over, eventually all small businesses would be beat out for all these emissions contracts and such. Is that necessarily bad? It's bad if we lose the capacity of those small businesses. And that's why it was judged that we necessarily had to have a program that protected small businesses in the government contracting process. My point is that what I do in government contracting really stems from a real motive to perpetuate competition and preserve industry capacity in the American economy. We all have overlaid on top of that a sense of diversity. That if we are going to try to protect small businesses, how can we try to do that in a diverse way? So that's what we in SBA try to do. As a Procurement Center representative, I try to propagandize that as much as possible. In fact, back to your introduction of the PCR trying to stop actions, yes, that is something that we try to do, but more than anything, I am trying to educate those procuring offices. I'm trying to change their behaviors. My biggest case of stopping an action happened some years ago when I forced a contracting office to accept the fact that the Rule 2 was met, and they have to go small business set aside. Problem that I then had to experience was that the customer, the agency that was using that contracting office, then took its money out and got the contracting done by another authority. That will happen.
Yeah.
Business.
See? Well, your job was done.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's true, got bloody in the process.
But that's a good point, Paul.
Any other?
One of the comments that I want to make, and then I have a ton of questions. First, I want to bring to your attention that Mr. Hank Wilfong sends you greetings. He said that you guys worked together back in the day, and he said something about you, him, David Ortiz. I got some notes. He had me taking extensive notes, and he had me wanting to ask questions as well. And he said there was somebody you guys used to call Ichabod Crane. He wanted me to find out if you remember who that was. And one of the things, you don't remember? Well, at least I know I can say I asked you, so that's off for the record.
Out of the Headless Horseman?
Yeah, somebody like that, Ichabod Crane. some guy you guys used to call Ichabod Crane. But okay, so in reference to the PCR, what buying activities are you guys responsible for, and how many PCRs are there in this particular region is what the question is, so we know how to utilize the SBA and the PCRs in our searches.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I can come up with a number in this area or off this but I can
How many
name
work
the-
for you?
I can name the individuals. There's so few of us. Let me say this. The procurement center representative is SBA's spokesperson for small business interests in the acquisition planning process. And we will try to, for PCRs like myself, make as many assignments of liaison relationship with agencies. When I use that term liaison, you can hear the quotation marks around the word liaison. These are agencies where we strike an agreement that all things of this nature, that nature, I get a chance to review. It's not exactly the same cookie cutter relationship with every agency, but it usually is something that's pretty thorough. So consequently, I, as the only PCR in Northern California, I'm based in San Francisco, I don't have that many agencies that I have under a liaison relationship. I have NASA Ames Research Center in Mountain View, GSA, Region 9, the Army Corps of Engineers, Sacramento District, and then I have kind of quasi-liaison relationships with National Park Service.
National Park Service?
Yeah, Pacific West Region, Defense Microelectronics.
DMEA?
DMEA. Right?
Okay.
And
Now Lawrence Livermore?
San Francisco District Army Corps of Engineers. Now that does not mean that if you have a problem with the Coast Guard, I'm not going to be interested.
Okay.
We will get interested in working on a case-by-case basis on particular situations. And that's when we say that we have on-call assignments to deal with those, okay? So when you're fighting with, or just having some kind of awkward dealing with an agency and think that possibly an SBA PCR can help you, either giving you guidance or interceding on your behalf or whatever, you can find the list of all of our government contracting field staff in the SBA website. When you find that, I will point out that it will list all the field staff. So my colleagues who are commercial marketing representatives dealing with subcontracting, or industrial specialists dealing with COCs, or size specialists dealing with size cases, we're all listed together.
Okay. So you said the CMR does the subcontracting, so that was one of the questions. Okay, CMR.
The PCRs that are listed, and some of them have double duty, somewhere 2 or 3 have.
Right.
But any person that's listed with agencies assigned, listed under them, those are liaison assignments. Okay? So you're looking at this list that is geographically organized, finding the agency that you're dealing with, and then look to see who the PCR is. As I point out, since there are a lot of agencies that are only on call and won't be listed in there are times when you will be finding that the agency you're dealing with is not listed. In that case, know where that agency or procurement office is located and try to figure out the PCR who is geographically closest. And talk to that PCR. Usually that PCR is, yeah, I'll look into that.
In the interest of time, and because this is pertinent, I'm gonna narrow it down to my last question. Because we was at a conference, and one of the large businesses who we all know but shall remain unnamed told us that we asked about 95-507, and the short version, you guys, is maximum practical utilization, and the law that deals with that of small businesses owned and controlled by, socioeconomically disadvantaged businesses, right, or however that whole thing quotes out. But what I'm more interested in is the law that says that they have to provide a subcontracting plan. Now, is that a particular law, or is that just like a suggestion? And here's why I asked the question. Because the unnamed large business told us that it's pretty much a suggestion. If we decide we're going to set aside some of this work for small businesses, then we have to submit a subcontracting plan. Is that actually the case? I mean, either y'all submit a plan or not.
There's a couple of kernels of truth in it. The rest of it sounds like it's fog.
See.
First, I don't want to be an academic snob, which I have been accused.
Take license, Paul. Go ahead.
Public Law 95-507 is worth remembering as watershed legislation.
Watershed.
Okay, because that's when we really put together a lot of what we're beginning to think about and create a genuine small business program. It required agencies to create offices of small disadvantaged business utilization. It establishes the rights for SBA to bump our heads into certain things and so forth, okay?
Okay.
But all of the regulations or rules that have come from 95-507 have over the years been changed a lot. So to refer to 95-507 for its important historical origin of the program is cool.
Okay.
But when you're trying to nail down actual legal requirements